Hi Year 11, so this is another very quick revision video for your transactional writing. So the first assessment, the transactional writing, will take place on the 7th of May. It will be 45 minutes in length and it is worth a total of 40 marks. That 45 minutes should be used wisely, and our suggestion is that you spend up to 10 minutes planning your response. That means reading and understanding the question, jotting down some initial ideas and writing a 5-sentence plan. We then suggest that you spend up to 30 minutes writing your article, remembering to include all the key features of an article, and then finally spend about 5 minutes checking your technical accuracy. Remember, there are 24 marks for your content and organisation, and there are 16 marks for your spelling, punctuation and grammar. So accuracy really matters. Just a quick reminder of the content and organisation marks. You can get up to 24 marks for this section, and if your communication is convincing, your tone, style and register are convincingly matched to the purpose and audience, and that you use extensive vocabulary, really consciously crafting linguistic devices, then you will find yourself within the lower level of level 4, which is obviously the top section of the grades. For level 3, you need to ensure that your communication is consistent and clear. That means that it's generally easy to understand, that your tone, style and register are generally matched to purpose, and that you're choosing vocabulary for effect. Remember that you're being asked to write an article, and so with that in mind, you need to ensure that you have a headline, that your headline is then followed by a strapline, which is then followed by an introduction. And it's usually a good idea, if you can, to include an anecdote, a personalised story, which is going to engage and interest your reader. You'll then have up to 5 other paragraphs, each containing a key idea taken from your 5-sentence plan, and then that will be all wrapped up neatly with a conclusion. Your 5-sentence plan is almost like a 5-sentence response to the question. This is a question that we looked at in class. Animals have feelings. It's wrong to breed animals for the sole purpose of killing them for humans. Should we eat meat? The green section indicates an element that the student is going to agree with, and the red elements indicate sections that the student is going to disagree with. They've then highlighted the article for a local newspaper. That tells us the format of what they need to write. And they've highlighted explain your point of view on this statement, which gives us the purpose. The only thing we haven't got explicitly stated is who the audience is, but we know that it's going to be readers of a local newspaper. Therefore, we're looking at older teenagers and adults. A 5-sentence plan for this question may look like this. Humans have evolved to eat meat. Eating meat provides essential nutrition. Animals that are bred for food still deserve a good life. Eating a vegetarian/vegan diet can still be harmful for the planet. And people should be allowed to make informed choices about what they put in their bodies. We're going to look at the example now that has been written, and you will see that each of these sentences from the 5-sentence plan becomes part of the paragraph, usually the topic sentence, and this is a really effective way of planning out your ideas. Spending some time at the beginning of the question planning your answer will ensure that your response is well organised, and it will reward you with higher marks. Humans are carnivores and should continue to eat meat. So we have there a very clear headline. Experts from doctors to psychologists recognise the benefits of eating meat, and so should you. Clear, simple, straightforward strapline. Every January, social media sites from Twitter to TikTok become inundated with influencers extolling the benefits of adopting a plant-based diet for Veganuary. But should we really turn our back on meat? So here you can see that we've got a type of anecdote because it's setting the scene, and it's giving us a personalised reference point. They use the alliteration of Twitter to TikTok to catch our attention, but also to ensure that we are buying into what we're being told. In terms of vocabulary, we've got inundated, we've got extolling, we've got adopting, and we've got influences. So what we can see is that this student is making a conscious choice when it comes to their vocabulary. Finally, their introduction ends with a rhetorical question. So this is also showing us that this student can use that persuasive method. Honestly, humans have evolved to eat meat. Our ancestors understood the benefits of eating meat. It assisted them in the development of both brain and muscle power, fueling their bodies for every mental and physical activity and exertion. Therefore, why in the 21st century are we looking to return to prehistoric levels of nutrition? So this student has taken their topic sentence and they've added an adverb in front of it. This is a really good move because it shows the examiner that the student is able to use a range of sentence structures and techniques. They use the inclusive pronoun of our to make us all feel one. And again, the use of ancestor there is another example of well-selected vocabulary. You'll notice as well that they've used a colon correctly and they've used a hyphen. You'll also notice that they've used another rhetorical question, except this time the rhetorical question is slightly longer and includes a little bit more depth. They've used two rhetorical questions here in quick succession, so they need to avoid using that, more than sort of 3 times across the whole piece, or else it just becomes very samey and we start to be concerned that the student doesn't know how to use a range of other persuasive devices. Eating meat has a multitude of benefits for a modern life. A 3-inch thick slab of juicy, succulent steak contains much needed iron, an essential component in the prevention of anemia. Although iron can be found in some green vegetables, like spinach, you would have to consume an awful lot of this vegetation to get the same benefits. In fact, you would need to eat more spinach than Popeye. So again, we can see that they've used a present participle at the start of this paragraph in the form of eating, and they've spent some time considering their vocabulary, such as multitude and anemia. They've also included some descriptive writing. A 3-inch thick slab of juicy, succulent steak is clearly a good way forward. It allows us to see the steak in front of us. They've used brackets correctly to introduce the idea of spinach, and they have attempted to introduce an idea of humour by referencing Popeye at the end. Their next paragraph starts with a connective. However, that is not to say that animals bred for food don't deserve to be treated humanely. Of course they do. So we've got a range of sentence lengths there. Factory farming allows an unacceptably low standard for animal welfare that truly needs to be addressed. All animals reared for human use and consumption, be that meat, eggs, dairy or leather, deserve to live a comfortable and natural life, access to good quality food, clean water and outdoor enclosures. Many farmers are turning to rewilding to improve the standard of life for their animals. Reintroducing ancient breeds and encouraging free roaming and grazing is clearly the way to go when it comes to improving standards for these animals. So we can see here that this paragraph is much longer. And this paragraph is much longer because it's one where the student is showing us that they do have some consideration for animals. They want to show us both parts that they're arguing for. You'll also notice that there's a range of sentence structures in there, and again, a range of punctuation. In there, we've got commas, full stops, brackets, colons, and inverted commas, and a hyphen, all used correctly. Before my inbox becomes inundated with angry emails about how the farming industry is destroying the planet, let me remind you that eating a vegetarian or vegan diet can also be harmful to the planet. The virtue signalling and the healthy appearance and connotations of plant-based living being cleaner and better for the environment can be deceiving. Let's take the humble avocado. Who doesn't enjoy that smashed on a tasty bit of sourdough? The demand for avocado has created several problems. The exploitation of bees in portable hives, increased importation costs of these fruits, and increased associated carbon footprint. Therefore, is this really better for the environment than a free-range egg from the farm down the road? So again, this paragraph does end in a rhetorical question, but that's the third time, so it's still okay. You'll notice that again, they've tried to use a sense of humour, this time by referring to the smashed avocado on sourdough. And you'll notice that because the elements of their list introduced by the colon are considerable chunks of information, they've correctly used a semicolon to divide that list. People must be allowed to make informed choices about what they wish to put into their bodies. We live in a world where information is readily available, and we should be able to use this information to inform our choices. It is our right. So this is still one of their main idea paragraphs, and you'll notice that it is markedly shorter than the one before it. This is absolutely okay, because what the student is showing us is that they understand that they can use a range of paragraph lengths to manipulate their audience and guide their viewpoints. It also starts with an imperative, which is a good way of encouraging your reader to take action. Finally, this piece finishes with a conclusion. Whether we eat meat or not, it must be down to the choice of the individual. Well-informed, honest and accurate labelling of all foods, including information on welfare, sustainability, nutrition and environmental impacts, is the only way forward to allow people to be really informed about the meat or the meat substitutes they're placing in their bodies. So that conclusion neatly wraps up the ideas that the student had been writing about. All in all, this is an excellent example of how you can structure and organise a piece of transactional writing. We wish you luck for the exam.